Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of the Old Men Magic podcast, where your hosts Alex and Steve discuss current and not so current matters in the world of Magic the Gathering. Sup, friendo?
Yo, how's it going?
That's my new greeting.
Very good.
Friendo. Is that too aggressive? Do you know what that's from? I'm sure it's from a
No,
lot of things, but I think of one thing in particular when I
no.
hear people say friendo. No Country for Old Men.
Oh, okay,
That's what the
okay.
creepy guy would say to people
Did
before he
he? I
put
didn't
the
remember that. I didn't
the
remember that
cattle
detail.
stunner between, not a stunner, it was a, I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, well,
What are they
it
called?
does stun them,
Yeah, puts a
and
hole in their head. What are they called?
additionally, yeah.
Neither one of
uh,
us know. We're not ranch hands. We don't know what that's called.
no, no.
How you been doing, Alex?
Oh, okay. Um, Pretty good, I
Busy
guess.
Saturday?
Huh?
Busy Saturday?
No, no, it was all right. I did a little bit of yard work, and that was about it. Got ready for this, and opened up some mail packages that came. I was excited. Got cards.
I watched episode 3 of The Lord of the Rings on Amazon.
Oh, you started watching that?
Yeah, I watched 1 and 2 last weekend, and it was underwhelming. Yeah, but episode 3's drawn me in.
Oh, really?
It's becoming more action packed. I'm getting more interested in the story. So hopefully that trend continues. I'm gonna keep watching it no matter what. No matter how terrible it is, I'm gonna be watching it. So I hope that it's at least good and it's not a huge waste
What's
of
it,
time.
what's it like production value wise and stuff? Does it like look and seem cheesy at
They
all or
spent an absurd amount of money on it. I can't remember what the budget was, but it was high. And I've heard some people talk about how, they really love the special effects, but I look at the special effects and I'm not in love with them. And actually there were some parts that I was watching today where like the Harefoots were walking around and stuff. And it reminded me, it took me out of the moment because I felt like I was
yeah.
watching like a high school production for just a
Episode
few shots here and
an
there.
episode of Xena or something?
Actually, yeah, it had a bit of a Xena feel,
Yeah.
but
Well, the Peter
just
Jackson
every
movies
once in a
too
while.
a little bit like in especially during the fights, I felt like a lot of the fights got kind of like, overly choreographed and kind of hokey
Yeah.
in that. But, you know,
I never watched Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, and I was listening to some people talk about that a couple weeks ago, and they said that was 3 movies long.
yeah.
They were complaining about The Hobbit. I think maybe a lot of people did not like it. I think it's pretty much universally
I
agreed
didn't
upon
love
that
it.
it was drawn out way too long.
Yeah. I didn't love it.
Yeah, maybe I'll
It
never
kind of
watch it.
had, yeah, a lot of those bad elements like we were just talking about of Lord of the Rings, and then it was The Hobbit in
Mhm.
3 movies, which was too long, and they like added stuff that wasn't in The Hobbit. And I'm like, why'd you make it 3 movies if you were gonna like add stuff? And that's like obviously because we wanted to make more money.
That's the answer.
Um,
Yeah.
so like it probably would have been perfect as 2 movies, I think, because it's longer than 1 movie. Like a
Mhm.
lot of stuff happens in Hobbit. It's very like episodic. There's all these like little encounters. And if you don't want to leave them out, uh, you know, 2 movies would be fine. You wouldn't have to add like a hot elven lady who like fights with a sword to like keep people interested.
I mean, that sounds like something that gets butts in seats,
It
right?
does. Yeah.
A hot elven lady with swords.
Yeah.
Somebody at work was telling me that this new series on Amazon is based on the book with the name that I cannot pronounce, the Silmarillion.
Yeah. The
The
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
What?
heard too. And it kind of like it made one part of me excited because I was like, oh, that's like a deep cut. You know what I mean?
I've
Like they're
never
getting
read
like
that one.
deeper
Have you
into
read that one? I've never read it.
yes, yes. But the
Okay.
problem is simultaneously, I thought like it's gonna be hard to make a interesting like series out of that. I feel like it's very, I don't know, it's pretty dry. People have made the like I heard the joke that someone said it reads like a phone book in Elvish.
Oh, okay.
It's very like, yeah, like
Maybe I will never read it then. Maybe I'll die without reading that one.
parts of it are great, and it's like a great, it's like this whole, it's beautiful. It's like a backdrop of this whole world he created and the history of this whole world, and it's interesting. It's just like I've said, the parts of it are slow, so it's like it's good, but it's slow.
Mhm.
And if you're into Tolkien, like reading like Lord of the Rings, like you probably like it, but probably hard to make something visual out of it that didn't just like invent a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't in it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, let's talk about Magic the Gathering news now.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to talk about SCGcon.
All right.
Which I guess there are a bunch of SCGcons, Star City Games. But this one just happened in Columbus, not that far from me, last weekend. I didn't know about it until after it was
should have gone.
over and done with. They have them every year, I believe. And I think either this one or some other large con is also frequently in the Cleveland area.
Okay.
So I was thinking we should, we'll keep doing this for a year. We're going to be gigantic Magic the Gathering influencers. Once that happens, once we become famous in the world, we should hit up some of these cons. We should hit up the cons before we become famous also to see what it's like attending these cons as a nobody versus attending the con as a major Magic the Gathering celebrity.
See people treat us differently.
But I've never gone to one of these, and it looked pretty fun. I was seeing some people on Twitter posting some things, and I was like, oh man, I should have, if I had known about it beforehand, I would have hopped in my car, gone and driven like a half hour, hit up the con.
Yeah, I would go to that. That would be fun.
So we'll put this on the list for next year, maybe. It was September 2nd to 4th. They had a tournament play, vendors, and artists. So the tournament was modern. They called it the Modern 20K. And I first saw that and I was like, damn, you can make 20K winning a Magic the Gathering tournament nowadays. That's big time. But then I looked it up and it's actually, that's the total. That's the total amount of all of the prizes. Yeah, I think the winner of the tournament won like 3K or something, which is still pretty sweet for playing Magic the Gathering. But when you consider his deck probably cost like 10K at least.
How many like people down did they give prizes to then? It seems like you get prizes like.
Let me see. It's right here on the website. So first prize was $3,000. Yeah, and then they were this was a regional qualifier too. So you qualify for the regional championship at DreamHack Atlanta. So we could still hit that up if we wanted to. November 18th to 20th, 2022. Second place, $2,000. Third and fourth place, $1,500. All those people get to go to DreamHack. 5th through 8th, 1,000. 9th through 12th, 700. 13th through 16th, 500. 17th through 32nd, 200.
Yeah, that's a lot of prize money deep into the tournament.
I am kind of surprised they gave any kind of cash to
getting a little bit of pocket money even for down in the bottom half, like of that 32 player. I wonder how many people played total.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that. Yeah, when I was watching this, I was thinking, I wonder how many people are like actively involved in competitive Magic, traveling every other weekend or so, hitting up these regional qualifiers.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Pro Tour exists anymore. I don't want to talk too much about this because there's a lot that I don't know, but like when we were young and we started playing, after a couple of years, the Pro Tour was a thing, and then I thought it dissolved.
Really?
I think it dissolved.
I've seen people online talk about it or something that is named similarly. It might not be called Tour, it might be called Pro something else, but I think it's Pro Tour. And they were talking about, I wish I could find that now. Because they do a different format for it every time, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that's kind of how it works. It's like there's like, it might be like standard or modern or a different format.
Yeah, maybe it dissolved and came back. I don't know. But this year, or at least this con, SCGcon, was a modern tournament. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I have no idea what the modern format is. So I'm going to learn a little bit about the modern format.
Right. I know basically, but yeah. I don't understand anything about it.
It's not what I expected it to be just based on the name. I heard modern format, and I thought it was going to be similar to what I think was Type 2 back in the day.
Oh, so like standard, I guess, would be like the very newest sets.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I hear
They
modern.
call
I
that,
thought that's what
yeah.
it was.
It's taken me a while to finally start to get this straight. It's the names for the different formats, but yeah, that is like, yeah, the newest ones are called standard, I guess, which modern seems like, that's it could be.
I thought the newest sets were actually Pioneer. But maybe we'll
Oh,
learn about the difference between standard and
oh,
Pioneer later.
jeez. I thought Pioneer had something to do with like mountains and forests.
Are you serious?
No,
Or are
it's
you
just
making a joke?
I'm joking.
Okay. I didn't get the joke. Sort of did. But the modern format, I went to see which sets were legal in modern. So this is what surprised me. I thought it was just going to be the newest sets. What sets are legal in modern? Everything from Dominaria United all the way down to Mirrodin. So Mirrodin was the first of the new border sets, I believe. So it's like Mirrodin, then you have 8th edition, 9th edition, 10th edition, a ton of different expansions that I've heard of but know nothing about. Cold Snap, which was the finale to the Ice Age block. They did that block in a weird way.
So like out of order, out of place. Like let's go back in time to Ice Age for.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. I think honestly, like I'm not completely sure about this, but I think I read something about how they did that so that they could round out that block with another set, so it would have the same number of sets as other blocks, so that if they
Okay.
would do like block tournaments, it would like. But that might just be that might be wrong.
Okay. But yeah,
I'm old and confused.
everything from Mirrodin to Dominaria United. Similar to the rest of the game, the gameplay is similar to what we're used to. One-on-one games, 60 card minimums for the main deck, up to 15 card sideboard. With the exception of basic lands, your combined deck and sideboard may not contain more than 4 of any individual cards, counted by its English card title equivalent. I didn't see anything about like a banned or restricted list, but I'm sure there's a banned restricted list somewhere. I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, there is. It has a bunch of cards that we don't know. Yeah, okay, so here's the modern band list. Like I said, a bunch of stuff we don't know, but a few things that I've heard of.
Name some old man cards.
Let's see. Mox Opal, when's that from? What says that from? I forget.
I don't even think that's an old man card.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. It's pretty new.
You
It's
just saw the
famous
word
though, like
Mox.
I've heard of it. Uh looks like it's from
Scars of
Stars
Mirrodin.
of Mutin. Okay. So yeah, I've heard of Oko, Thief of Crowns. That's new. I mean, these are new cards. Ponder. Um,
So
yeah, it's
all
all
new stuff,
newer
really.
stuff.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, but nothing that's, I guess, like famous that's been reprinted, I guess is what
Yeah,
you're looking for.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Nothing at all that I'm familiar with. So there's a lot to learn about there.
and then I was looking down through this list of banned cards in like different formats because I refresh. I can't remember all of them for the different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at Commander again because we talk about Commander cards. I was probably mentioned some stuff that's not even legal in Commander. You know, uh, so I started looking. I'm trying to think. There was one or two things that were of note. I should remember. Oh, Recurring Nightmare is not legal in Commander.
I did learn that recently, and it is a card that I want for pre-modern.
And we talked about it before.
Yeah,
Tinker is not legal. That's a card that's very strong. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
I
But
picked some Tinkers up. I
oh,
might have.
did you? Did you?
Full disclosure, I might have a playset of Tinkers.
I might have one. I think I got one. I was gonna get some eventually, but it's like I have to make sure.
And I looked at the card and I was like, I feel like this card should be more expensive than it is. And probably the reason it's not is because it's not legal in Commander.
Yeah, is it an uncommon or a?
But you know what? I'm wondering if it's even legal in pre-modern. I might have just bought it anyways because it looked really cool. I'm not sure. I don't remember if it's a
Cool card,
rare or an uncommon.
you know. The problem is, I guess, that it's just so easily abusable.
Yeah.
Maybe not abuse, maybe abuse isn't the right word, but it's, you know. By the way, it's 1 blue, 2 colorless sorcery. You sacrifice an artifact and search your library for an artifact and put it into play, which obviously allows you to, you know, trade a cheap artifact for an expensive big artifact.
Yeah, it's beastly. And yeah, it is legal in pre-modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an uncommon. Urza's Legacy.
Yeah, and not expensive at all. I'm still surprised, even if it's an uncommon, that it's the price that it is. I mean,
things of this card, not really many either. It was in Mystery Booster and From the Vault Exiled, so I don't think that means there were very many reprinted between those. And the one was an uncommon, and the other one was a mythic.
Yeah, $2.08.
I don't know what the size of Mystery Booster cards is, but
$2.08 market price, Alex. I mean, in a world where Urza's Bauble is like $10.
You know, some guy
Somebody should buy out Tinker.
You know, Urza's Bauble was like a guy that like posted a giant like
Yeah,
was trying to drive it up above. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do that with Tinker at some point, right? It's such a cool card. It's only $2.
I don't know, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what the
in a world where people are buying out the Bauble, I feel like they should buy out Tinker at some point.
Oh yeah, there's other good cards. I mean, Grinning Totem.
Yeah.
I just got 2 mint Grinning Totems. Beautiful, well centered.
Full disclosure. Have them graded. How much does it cost to grade a card? Do you have any idea?
Between $50 and $100.
I was thinking like $50.
I thought it was, yeah.
Have them graded, wait 137 years, and then sell. And then maybe it'll be worth more than what you paid for it.
I wonder if there's any kind of proportional. I hope there's not some kind of like proportional charge. You know what I mean? That would be disgusting. That would be infuriating.
Yeah, probably. I'm guessing no. Or else
they might charge you something for like insurance or something. You know what I mean? There might be some fee for them to like house your card and like make sure they don't damage it, which would also be annoying.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works. I'm just assuming there's no upcharge just based on price, because I feel like that put a major dent into their business, because most of the cards people would want to have graded are high-end cards. If they have to pay a fortune every time they want to grade it, it's like all of a sudden it doesn't no longer becomes worth it financially.
We'll have to have a guest on who gets some cards graded. And
yeah, there are people, their YouTube channels that like that's all they do. They just talk about graded Magic.
Crazy to me. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I want to free the cardboard.
Yep, free the cards.
I was looking at the modern. I'm going to go back to the modern tournament, SCGcon modern tournament. I was looking at the top 8, the deck list, just browsing the deck list a little bit. Brady Monroe, Colorless Prison. He was the champion. He won the $3,000. Just to see if I recognize any of these things. You know, we don't recognize anything from the banned or restricted list, but some of the stuff is probably reprinted, reprints of old cards.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we're going to see a lot of lands. That might be the one thing is like, we talked about that a little bit already.
Colorless Prison, mana base was Urza's cards, Urza's lands, Urza's towers, Urza's mine, Urza's power plant.
Interesting that you're seeing that. That's cool.
Snow Cover Island. This is something that's going on. I've seen this in a couple of decks. Like people will throw in one snow covered land.
Why?
Trying to figure out what modern cards synergize with these snow covered lands.
Or does it like protect you somehow? Like it, like if they do something that destroys like all islands, that doesn't count. But like it is an island still, so that wouldn't work, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe it like somehow, I don't know.
Another thing I saw, so this championship deck had 4 Karn, the Great Creator. This was one of the badass Karns. Karn, the Great Creator, one of the badass Karns that does not wear pants. We touched on this a little bit in one of our earlier episodes. So this was one of the interesting things I noticed browsing all these top 8 decks. There tend to be pretty Planeswalker heavy. It's like in some metas, especially the older formats, you don't see a lot of, or at least it's not common to see like top 8s that aren't heavy on creatures at all. A lot of, creatureless decks or 1 or 2 creatures. But it does seem, at least in this particular tournament, that planeswalkers really do rule the day. I guess it's not so surprising when you think about the relative strength of planeswalkers these days compared to old school creatures.
Yeah.
The second deck, Jund by Duo Yang, ran 7 planeswalkers, 4 red and 6s, 3 Liliana of the Veils. So these are all planeswalkers I've actually heard of. I also noticed this guy ran 4 Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah.
It's a card that I don't know much about, but we did mention it in, I think, our second episode, where I introduced you to the Blastoderm. And I said, I was reading about the Blastoderm, and some people in comment sections and message boards or in articles I was reading were talking about how it was like overshadowed by the Tarmogoyf. Everybody was running Blastoderms in their green decks until Tarmogoyf came out. And I was like, what the hell's Tarmogoyf? Tarmogoyf is 1 colorless and a green creature, power equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how this can get quite large.
It's like a Lurgoyf, like the original Lurgoyf, but better.
Which was from Ice Age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's both. I can't remember. I think that was just your graveyard with that card, and I think it cost more to cast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did cost more.
1 colorless and 1 green. It was like 4 casting cost or something.
I was thinking the other day I need to get a Lurgoyf. Just for
I
the
have
heck of it.
some. Do you want them?
Don't have them. Send them my way.
I don't think it's useful now anymore.
Third deck, Is It Murktide? I don't know what Is It means yet, but I see it a lot in Modern Magic. Also pretty creature heavy. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer.
Yeah, I know that card.
A card that I've seen.
Famous.
People talk. I see this pop up in posts or in articles where they talk about power creep.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's a 1-drop from back in the day, and they'll show Savannah Lion or something. Or Mon's Goblin Raiders, which I think was a 1-drop. And then they show Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, which is 1 red, 2/1 legendary creature monkey pirate.
Monkey pirate.
Whenever Ragavan Nimble Pilferer deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. And then it has Dash, which I don't even know what the hell Dash is yet. This card runs Mishra's Bauble. So here's a card we know. Also runs Lightning Bolt, Counterspell. So here we go. We got some old man cards here. Fourth deck from the top 4 was, here we go, Anthony Cook's Living End. We'll see what this is. I'll stop at the 4th one here.
Oh, that's fine.
Lots of creatures. Creature heavy. No planeswalkers here, though. No creatures I recognize. No sorceries or instants I recognize. So there's no old man cards in this one.
No. By the way, the original Lurgoyf was all graveyards, so it's the exact same card, I think, function-wise, but it was 2 colorless and 2 green instead of 1 colorless, 1 green.
That's what I had in my head. I had in my head that it was 4 mana.
So they were basically just like, we just need to make this card better.
More powerful.
Yeah.
It's a strictly better
Lurgoyf. That's frustrating. They couldn't have come up with a way to make it like just a little bit different.
The kids were screaming for a strictly better Lurgoyf.
So I'm noticing when I look at these decks that at the land list that they have as many kinds of lands as possible and few of all of them. And obviously they're trying to get as many like multicolored, mana producing lands in there as possible. But I'm wondering if, like, when I see basic lands, it looks like most of them only have like 1.
Yeah.
Like 1 mountain, 1 swamp, and I'm wondering if that's just simply because that's the remaining slot after they put all the other good land in, or if that's a deliberate strategy because maybe there's like some kind of card we don't know that like removes multiple of the same, basic land from your deck from the game or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to like avoid some sort of like multi-land destruction or multi-library removal or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the 5th deck, or the fifth place deck, 4-color combo by Justin Austin. 1 mountain,
One
There you
mountain.
go. And it might be that some of these cards in these decks synergize with a basic land type. And I'm trying to think. There's a card that I see in Premodern. People run it sometimes in aggro elves decks, and probably in a lot of other decks that I'm just not familiar with yet. But it's a creature from Judgment called Anger, 3 colorless, 1 red.
Oh.
2/2, it has haste. As long as Anger is in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control all have haste.
So that's interesting. It's like a buff spell, you know, card that doesn't have to be in play. It works from your graveyard. Okay.
But the other thing about it is you have to have a mountain at play.
Right.
So there's aggro decks, there's non-red aggro decks that run just this card in a single mountain. And then they'll have like fetch lands to get their mountain or ways to get their mountain. But they only run a mountain so that they can give all their creatures haste with Anger. So there might be all sorts of cards. I don't know when this type of mechanic appeared, but like this is the first card of this type that I remember seeing when I started going through all the cards in pre-modern sets. Anger gives all your creatures some ability if you have a mountain.
Yeah. Huh.
Were there things like that back in the day? I might not, there might have been, and I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but there are definitely things like you have to control.
Yeah, not that did both
your
of those
opponent
things,
controls.
but yeah, like if you controlled mountains, you know, all your other creatures would get +1/+1, or you know, something. But yeah, that's definitely a good point. I think you're probably right then about that. They're probably keeping one of a certain basic land in there just because it works with something, or yeah.
So that's very possible. So brief introduction to the modern format. Very brief because we don't know anything. But
we'll
I've
get
learned
there eventually, maybe.
I've learned how large it is from Mirrodin to Dominaria United. I've learned that planeswalkers are tournament competitive. And we've learned that people like to run one of a particular type of land, and sometimes it's snow covered for unknown reasons.
I knew, the snow covered land. I don't know about that.
These are things that will be revealed to us.
Planeswalkers, because I don't know, that was one of the things that that I don't really like about newer border era things is the planeswalker like mechanic. And I know that in like modern discussion of like the metagame, like it's definitely
they just dominate. But like I don't look for modern content, but I hear names like Ren and Six,
I just hear
Lilion of the Veil.
Incidentally, when I'm
this is why I hear about them, I guess, because they're literally winning giant tournaments.
Yeah.
But just to wrap that up, next year we should go to a con. We should pick a con.
I would like that. That would be fun.
It sounds like they're in Columbus, Cleveland quite often. In addition to the tournament, it's like they had artists there, probably signing cards.
Yeah.
They had vendors. I did see different people like post their booths up on Twitter. They're selling all their fancy cards. They got their Moxes. They got their Lotus.
They got their Moxes.
Maybe we got to save up for a couple years.
Card I really like. That would be kind of cool.
What'd you say?
I would buy a print if it was like a card I really liked, like
I
really like. That'd be kind of
cool. I'm thinking about it. With the artists there, they probably do sell prints.
Yeah.
Because you can buy prints, so I'm sure they bring them to the cons when they show up. A lot of these guys and girls will also sign cards if you send them to them. Which I've never thought about
that. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The more I've read about Magic is apparently like a weird hobby where a weird collectible where that often hurts the value of cards instead of helping it, I guess.
Yeah, well, you would never do it.
I would think the signature card would always be good, but
you would never do
apparently,
that. For financial reasons, in this case, it would just be because you wanted the artist to sign it. Yeah. I personally, I collect books too. I love having signed books, but I do not like having signed Magic cards. Yeah, and I think the difference comes from the fact that you can hand an author the book and they don't scribble their signature on the front cover. The
Right.
art of the front
Inside,
cover
yeah,
is maintained in
right.
its original state. They open the front page,
Yeah.
they'll sign a blank page, they'll
Well,
sign the title page.
and
With
on
a
a
magic
magic card,
card,
there's no room for
it's
a
so
signature.
small. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it has
small.
to
One of the
go
best
on
things
top.
about the magic cards is the art. That's why you're bringing it to the artist to sign, and they're
Mhm.
scribbling on top of it. Now, yes, they don't sign directly on the art,
But the
but
other
they're
thing is
still
the text
obscuring
of the
some part
card,
of
which
the
is
of the
important.
of the card.
You
Yeah,
know, you need to read what the card does, and they have to write it
exactly.
down too. So it's, yeah, it's messy.
So I think that's probably I think that's the big reason. I mean, aesthetically, it's just not as pleasing to have these people sign on top of their tiny little magic cards.
Yeah, most cards get shuffled and moved around in sleeves, and I'm always worried that that signature is going to start to like erode over time, or you know, start to
Yeah.
like look shittier.
Well, I mean, if you have something that's really expensive, you just don't shuffle it. You
Yeah,
just don't shuffle it, put it in sleeves it over time. You
there's
lock
like
it
a
up in a plastic box.
yeah,
You trap the cardboard. You send it to Beckett. You say, trap this cardboard for me.
it's like Ghostbusters. Throw this in the card containment unit.
Mm-hmm.
um, who has that vault? Someone has that vault. Is that eBay? They have that like crazy vault with like cards on display.
I don't even know what you're talking
I'll
about.
find out about
eBay?
that for next time. Yeah, I think it's I want to say it was eBay. It's someone who's, I might be wrong. It's someone who's like recently gotten into trading cards or up their trading card presence. Um, so it could have been some other big company,
I
but
mean, eBay started a new program, of course. Well, one, they recently bought TCG Player.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it might
Yeah.
have been them, and they added it during all that other stuff. But uh, yeah. Anyways, they'll store your like sweet cards for you, I guess,
Oh,
in like a climate controlled like vault. I don't know. I'm gonna find out about it for next time. I won't talk about it before.
I don't like that. That freaks me out having a big
I know.
company store like multiple collections all in one spot.
We'll get back to it. Let me look it up before I get back. We talk about
We'll
it.
talk about that in a future
We don't,
episode.
we're just
For now, you want to talk about some of your pickups, some of your recent pickups? I hear you
yeah, I
purchased
can
some
do
things
that.
from Urza's Destiny.
I got a whole bunch of things from Urza's Destiny randomly. It
Now
wasn't really
tell me what the symbol is for Urza's Destiny, because I'm always
it
getting
is
there's three
it's
Urzas.
the flask.
It's a flask. Okay, that's the flask one.
Um
Erlenmeyer flask.
yes, it's
Erlenmeyer flask.
Um and it's the third of the three Urza's sets: Urza's Saga, Urza's Legacy, Urza's Destiny. And apparently by the third one, they had still not figured out yet that they were printing very powerful cards in these sets. Um, which I guess isn't bad. I don't know. I'm still not, really like don't really have a great feel for the balance of all of these sets and how they fit in with each other. But
Yeah.
we've talked about before. I know there's a general consensus that the Urza's block is pretty. There's some broken cards and some pretty powerful cards, but there's some really fun looking cards in here. And there was one card I found I wanted to buy. I don't even remember what it was now. I was looking at the inventory from the seller, and it was a big seller. So they had a ton of cards in the same set, which I started looking through, and I just kept finding good cards. And I was like, and they were all like under $1. So I just kept buying
All
some of these
under a
to play with.
dollar. You turned into a robot for a second there.
Ju-
All under a dollar.
all under $1. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did it stutter? Yeah. Okay. Uh,
You did the
just
robot.
about one or two of them were like a buck and change. But pretty much all under $1, I think. They aren't in any sort of order here, so I don't know how to address them really. But
Alex is pre-modern legal Urza's Destiny's pickups for under a dollar.
yeah, okay. Um, Legacy. Sorry, 1 second.
Urza's Legacy, I have very few cards from that set.
I have actually some of these are going to be from Urza's Legacy. I bought more sets from outside of Urza's Destiny than I thought when we started talking about this. So I'll talk about both of them.
Oh, sorry, I'm already confusing them. Urza's Saga is the gears. That's the
Yeah,
one
that's
that I
the
have
gears.
most from.
Those are the gears. And
Urza's
maybe
Legacy is the pickaxe or
that's
something.
the yeah, it's like a sledgehammer or some
Sledgehammer, okay.
engineer hammer. So it's the second one. So we can talk about. Did I mention Rancor before on here? That's one of the cards I got.
We talked about it.
Talked about it. Yeah, because both
Yeah.
of us found it. Yeah, and we mentioned it last week, I think. Okay, so that's from Urza's Legacy. So is Intervene. This card is 1 blue. It's an interrupt which no longer exists. It's an instant now, but it's a 1 blue instant. Counter target spell that targets a creature. So it's
Oh,
just another, like niche specific 1 casting cost counter,
yeah.
but maybe a great sideboard card or works in some decks that have creatures that you really want to protect or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running a creature heavy, let's say you're doing, there's a lot I don't know about deck build any longer, but well, I don't know in general. But let's say you're doing a blue-green madness deck. I mean, madness, I think all madness decks are pretty creature heavy. There's lots of creature with the madness mechanic. You want to drop quick. You want to protect those creatures because that's usually how you kill your opponent with those decks, I think, with your creatures. So you got to protect them. This would be a good counterspell to have in a blue-green creature heavy deck. Doesn't have to be madness, but when I think of blue-green creature heavy, I think of madness decks.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
like that it's like a definite counter. Like so many of the single mana counters only counter if your opponent doesn't have extra mana to pay.
Right.
Which,
They
a
still
lot
have
of the times I'll run
yeah.
cards like that, Power Sink, or
Yep.
even though that's not 1 mana, Mana Leak, also not 1 mana. But other counter spells like that,
I know what you mean.
I'll still run them a lot because early in the game, your opponent usually doesn't have that extra mana, but sometimes they do. This is one way to get around that.
Yeah. So, and it's a common. It's 30 cents. Why not pick up a couple of those? I can throw them in somewhere.
This is weird art too. It's like 2 crazy long-limbed, tiny Tinkerbell-like creatures.
Yeah, like these little like imps, and they're like having a magic battle with this sorcerer.
That's what I'm trying to figure out what they're doing. Are they protecting him? Are they protecting him?
They might be. Yeah, they're stopping that lightning bolt from hitting him.
Yeah, that is what they're doing.
Yeah, they're intervening here.
Okay.
All right, so still in blue.
That's a pretty good one.
Oh, look at the value increase. Wow, holy cow.
Damn, this is where we got to invest in this.
That's doubled from 15 cents to 30.
It's 3x in 5 years. Just by several hundred thousand.
Okay, still in blue. Check out Raven Familiar. This is going in my birds deck.
Oh no.
The various bird-bladed decks.
With Stormcrow?
No, this is better than Stormcrow. Well, it's different, so I shouldn't say that.
How dare you?
Stormcrow's sweet. I shouldn't say that. They're just different. It's different.
I don't know why Stormcrow's a meme. I can't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not. I don't pretend to I don't understand. Anyways, Raven Familiar is 1 blue, 2 colorless to cast. Summon bird. It is 1/2 flying. Echo during this is like an upkeep cost. During the next upkeep, you have to repay its casting cost of 1 blue, 2 colorless. So that kind of sucks.
But yeah, I don't love these Echo cards. Most of the time I see an Echo card.
When Raven Familiar comes into play, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, which is interesting for a couple reasons, I think. One, it's the obvious top library manipulation effect. Okay. And it's a card draw. And it doesn't make you shuffle your library afterwards, like almost every other card like this does. You know where the rest of those cards went. You're like sending them to the bottom. That could be a small advantage, but it's a difference. He has 2 toughness, so he's a little bit harder to kill. And with the Echo thing, since you want him to come into play again for the card draw, you don't have to pay the Echo. You just bring him back somehow and do it again. Would be my take on it.
I'm confused by that last part. What do you mean? If you don't pay the Echo, doesn't it just go to your graveyard?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is you'd play it with some like in a graveyard manipulator.
Okay. Or
something like that.
Yeah, in combination with something else.
Something that brings him back into play or back into your hand. So you're just pulling him out for like 1 turn at a time, maybe. I think. Let me look.
I don't love Raven Familiar, to be honest.
No, okay.
Because I'm trying to think, if you had to pay, let's say you keep them around 2 turns, it's 2 turns, you're paying 3 mana for this card. What are you getting out of it? You're getting a 1/2 bird.
That's what I'm saying. You don't pay it the site. You don't pay the echo.
Well, I know, but so if you just pay it once, what do you get out of that? You get a 1/2 bird for 1 turn and a brainstorm, which is just 1 mana.
Basically, yeah, you can only have one of them in your deck. And
actually, brainstorm is not even legal in pre-modern, so this could be a pre-modern legal brainstorm.
Yeah, and you sacrifice.
Now that I think about that,
in this turn, you know what I mean.
But brainstorm doesn't put them at the bottom of your deck, though. That's a thing. I sometimes I would want to put those other 2 cards at the bottom of my deck. Sometimes I wouldn't. It's kind of a crapshoot. Depends on what they are.
So here we go. I remember I was reading through the comments on this card and I saw a couple of good ideas. Works with Cavern Harpy. Cavern Harpy is a 2 casting cost, 2/1 flyer. And when you bring him into play, you return a blue or black creature to your hand.
Okay.
And then you can pay 1 life to return Cavern Harpy to your own hand. So you could be like popping your Raven Familiars back into your hand, resummoning your Cavern Harpy into your hand, doing it all over again, like as a cycle, or with Mana War. And someone said you played in Alurin decks. I'm not really sure what the okay. So yeah, like in an Alurin deck, you would bring this into play for free and it would have haste. And then you wouldn't pay the echo and it would die. And then you could bring it back maybe somehow or play a different one and it would have haste, give you the card draw, it would be free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Cavern Heart because I was going to say I've heard about that. Somebody's mentioned that in the I couldn't remember the context in which they mentioned it, and you said Alurin, and that's the context in which they mentioned it. I was trying to learn about Alurin decks, and I haven't really gotten into it yet. I can't remember all the details of how people usually build and run Alurin decks, but I do remember them saying that that was like an important part of a number of Alurin decks.
Okay. So Raven Familiar, Cavern Harpy, and Alurin together would be like basically like a cycle combo, not the mechanic cycle, but like casually cycle.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to run it in the right kind of deck and combo with the right things.
Yeah, I think you use it in bounce decks.
I do love bouncing.
And me too, and that's why I looked at it because I'm trying to make like a boomerangy kind of style deck.
Yeah.
And I have Cavern Harpies already that I was trying to work into something like that. So that's a card I ordered some of.
Raven Familiar.
Raven Familiar, 15 cents, uncommon from Urza's Legacy. Last card from Urza's Legacy. Thran Lens.
Seen this one before.
A 2 casting cost artifact, 2 colorless mana. And while it's in play, all permanents are colorless.
Yeah.
It's a rare from Urza's Legacy.
I've seen this before.
It's like, do we care if all permanents are colorless? It's not like that's a strong mechanic, but I'm thinking this could be a card that gets like broken eventually by something else.
Yeah, it's like you look at this and you're like, okay, this could be used for something. I'm just not sure what I want to use it for yet.
Yeah. And I think I saw 1 or 2 suggestions. I'm thinking more about like maybe in the future if they print. Now it's not restricted, so a reserved list, so it probably doesn't matter as far as like a financial speculation or anything. But
I mean, there's still cards out there that like aren't reserve list, and then they get broken and they go up to like $50 before they get reprinted, and then it usually takes a little while to drop. So if you could pick something up for 68 cents, that might eventually
$10 even, or
be like $20 or something. Who knows though? There are a lot of bulk rares that just never get broken or that never become popular, and they just sit there in people's boxes. All permanents are colors. What would I use this for? It's like it would be cool if it's just out on the board. It's just an always activated artifact. It's not like you pay 2 mana to make all permanents colorless. It's not like something you can trigger.
I think some people are talking about using it to interfere with other people's combos.
Yeah.
There's a card Coalition Victory. You win the game if you control land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. So you'd prevent them from winning with Coalition Victory because all the creatures would be colorless.
That's a
Uh,
weird card.
yeah. Uh, Someone says it found its functionality years later when a certain Eldrazi card came around. I don't get that reference, but apparently this does something against some Eldrazi card.
It's interesting. It's inexpensive and it's unique. Is there anything else that has this?
There's a card called All Is Dust. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents they control. Not I don't know if people use that card. It doesn't look like they do, maybe. Oh,
7
okay.
casting cost.
I know, Steve. I know, Steve. It opens targets so you can terror them. Yes. Cast terror on them now because they won't be black.
Yeah, you could do that.
Now, does it make if it's an artifact creature, it would still be immune to terror even after this, I think, right?
I don't remember the language on terror. It does not kill black creatures.
Black or artifact creatures.
Does it say black or artifact creatures?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says to destroy target non-artifact.
Yeah, this wouldn't change them from being artifact creatures. So but it lets you use terror on black creatures.
Yeah.
Prevents opponents from casting natural order. Someone says it's too narrow of a hoser to be all that useful.
That's what it sounds like.
Probably.
Yeah.
Neutralizes Etch Champion or Prismatic Angel. That's a dead link, so I can't see what Prismatic Angel is. I don't know.
I don't know Prismatic Angel either. Let me look up Prismatic Angel. I wonder if it's from a new border set. Do I not know how to spell prismatic?
No, because the guy's link was dead too, so I'm thinking maybe that's not really what the card's
maybe
called.
It's not a card, yeah. Because I definitely know how to spell prismatic. And there appears to be no Prismatic Angel.
Maybe there's a Prismatic Angle.
Could be.
It
could be it. No. Prismatic Angel MTG auto completes in Google. Pristine Angel. And then tapped out, there's a deck type called Prismatic Angel. Converge, Prismatic Angel enters the battlefield. Come on, man. Is there or is there not a Prismatic Angel? This shouldn't be difficult to figure out. Here we go. There is a Prismatic Angel.
No, I think this is like making new cards.
Is this a made-up card?
Yeah. Custom card.
It is, mtgcardsmith.com.
Scroll up all the way to the top banner. I thought it said something.
It is. MTG Cardsmith. Create a new card.
Yeah. Get off my lawn.
This person made up his own card and then he left that comment about Prismatic Angel. He's like, this works great with the card that I made up.
That's the same guy's name?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Pristine Angel.
That's what I want to do. I want to go back to MTG Cardsmith and just make up cards. It would like synergize with cards that actually exist and then leave the comment and gather about how it worked great with the card that I just made up.
Great idea.
There is a Pristine Angel. So this is a real card.
Okay, it has protection from all colors.
Yeah, so I think this is the person he just screwed up. Pristine Angel, 4 colorless, 2 white, flying. As long as Pristine Angel is untapped, it has protection from artifacts and from all colors.
Okay, so this would be good in any deck, really, if you're playing against a deck that uses protection from colors.
Yeah, what does it have to do with Thran's Lens?
Well, because
what am I missing? I'm missing something. Everything becomes colorless.
If you have protection from black and I'm playing black and I use Thran Lens, all my black creatures are now colorless. So you wouldn't have protection from them anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah. They're trying to use that to then target this card.
Yeah.
It doesn't synergize with this card.
No.
You're saying then if you can then block this angel with a more powerful creature that you have, and it wouldn't be protected from it. Yeah. Okay.
And it's only 2 mana, so that was kind of my thought. It's a rare. It was 97 cents.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
No, I mean,
Sideboard
it's
card.
unique. Just trying to think if I could get it to work in something
Yeah, probably
someday.
not. That's Urza's Legacy. Urza's Destiny. I have an Angel. Maybe should I save that for the Angel talk?
Yeah, let's say that for the
We'll talk
Angels.
for that. Okay. How about this card? Here's a green card for you. I don't know if this is very good, but
I'm big on green. I'm buying lots of green.
oh yeah, buying green. Green's hot.
I'm making a green stompy.
Okay. Splinter.
Is this an old card where you like damage flying creatures?
Hmm.
Wasn't there an old card called Splinter?
I don't know. I think you're thinking of something else.
It must be.
2 colorless, 2 green. Remove target artifact from the game, and then you search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library, and
Nope.
remove all copies of the same card from
Nope.
the game. So, huh?
I said, ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
ooh. So yeah, so it's a little bit expensive to cast, 2 and 2 green. But you can get rid of all of a very important artifact from someone's, everything.
Yeah.
Not just their library,
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, somebody's running
so-
a Dreadnought deck. Good luck. You're
Yeah,
going to come at me with a Stifle Knot. I know those come out early. And I know this is 4 mana. But if you're running green, maybe turn 2, you got 2 elves out already.
Yeah.
Maybe you got some petals in your deck or something. Maybe you get to play this on turn 3 before they kill you with their Dreadnought.
Right.
And then you remove all their Dreadnoughts from everything. You go to their, you get in your car, you drive to their house. You open up their binders, you pull out all their Dreadnoughts. You put them in the trash
over
can.
them with the vacuum over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It sucks.
You drive to the LGS that they frequent. You ask to see all their Dreadnoughts. You throw all those out.
So yeah, that's an uncommon from Urza's Destiny.
I kind of like that. I mean, I'm trying to think of what, I'm sure there are like combo decks that rely on artifacts. I'm just the Dreadnought deck was the first one that popped in my head. Stifle Knot.
Yeah. The question is just getting this, casting this before they get one of those into play.
Yeah.
When you can still get all of them out. But I mean, even if you don't get all of them, for some cards, it would still be great to remove a bunch of their important.
Well, wait, maybe I'm not reading it correctly. You don't get rid of all of them. The remove target artifact from the game. Let's say they played a Dreadnought already.
Oh no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm so dumb. I was ignoring the first sentence. Yeah. Like so. Yeah.
Jesus,
from
Alex, come on.
One of them from play and all the rest from everywhere else. So
it's a crumble plus.
Yes.
And you know what? Crumble's 1 green, right?
Yeah.
This is essentially 4 mana. It's like 4 crumbles in one. You go
crumble,
through their decks, you crumble everything from the deck.
Yeah.
From the graveyard.
Crumbler.
From the hand.
Flight of crumbles.
I like that it gets it from the graveyard too, because of how much we got to do an episode on graveyard interaction. Because of how much graveyard interaction that was printed like after we stopped. There's so many graveyard decks.
I know. I'm making lists of the cards and buying them because I'm trying to do, some graveyard control deck. But
good, sweet.
We
gotta make that a list. We gotta make that
they're all a little different. So it's like, which one do I want to be using? All right. I'll mention Reckless Abandon.
Ooh, I'm buying red too. I'm buying green and red.
All colors are hot.
Because after the green stompy, I'm making another type of deck too. That's also mostly green.
Secret.
But it's also red. And it's green and red. What is the card?
Reckless Abandon. This is a common from Urza's Destiny. 1 red sorcery. In addition, you have to sacrifice a creature when you cast it. And it deals 4 damage to target creature or player.
Okay. Fire Blast, but not a Fire Blast at all. It's a Fire Blast and then it deals 4 damage. It's 1 mana instead of, what is Fire Blast? 6? You can't pitch a card, but you can for Fire Blast. You have to pay this mana. And you have to kill a creature. So it's nothing like Fire Blast, like I said. I like this, right? I think this is good. I mean, this is like another way for
right now, I liked it the other day when I bought some, and right now when I just read it, I was like, oh geez, maybe that's not as good as I thought. But I think as
It's a
long as you're
sorcery.
playing it in a deck where you want to sacrifice creatures, because what's neat here is that it's a red card that sacrifices a creature, which is normally like not always, but a lot of the time a black thing. So you could put this in a sacrifice deck that's mostly black or partially black, and it's a way to add some, you know, one mana, 4 damage, direct damage, and you want to be sacrificing creatures anyways.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I'm just thinking of it in straight up burn, where it's like,
Yeah.
in burn, you Fire Blast is so good, you don't even care about sacrificing 2 of your land, because if you can do 4 damage, you can get them down so low in life that you can just finish them off with a Fire Blast.
4 is a lot for 1 mana too.
Yeah. I mean, let's say you have some goblins out or something.
Yeah.
It's now turn 5, your goblins have done their thing. Now you just want to pay 1 red and sacrifice a goblin, do 4 damage to him, and bring him to 0 potentially.
It's like Goblin Grenade.
I can't remember Goblin Grenade.
Goblin Grenade, I think it was 1 red also. It did 5 damage, sacrificed a goblin.
Oh shit! So this is a worse Goblin Grenade.
No, it had to be a goblin though. Yeah, Goblin Grenade is the same thing with 5 damage, but it has to be a goblin.
Damn.
Good card.
Yeah.
They're both sorceries, so you can't use them as part of a combat trick. You can't block something and then use it, or something attack with your ball lightning and then
sacrifice. Yeah, when I pulled it up, I was like, it's a sorcery. It'd be probably too good if it was an instant. Yeah, it's just like Goblin Grenade, in the same way that Reckless Abandon is like Fire Blast. And what I mean by that is it's not just like Goblin Grenade.
It's more similar. Grenade. It's more like Goblin Grenade.
It's more similar to Goblin Grenade than it is a Fire Blast.
You know. All right, next card. Another red card for you.
I forgot about how good Goblin
Grenade
one is. Goblin Grenade. Goblin Grenade is not pre-modern legal because it's Fallen Empires.
Oh, what about the list? The list. I don't think the list affects its tournament legality.
Yeah, I don't. Well, when it comes to pre-modern, it doesn't do with tournament legality because it's not an official. Anyways, but yeah, I don't think the list. I don't think they would rotate things in and out based on whether it was on the list.
Yeah, huh? Only Fallen Empires. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and Magic 2012.
Where's that? Show that.
I don't know what it is. It's just the first thing that popped up when I typed in Goblin
Grenade. Oh, it's not showing it down there because you're on it. Okay,
yeah.
Printed in. That's the main set from 2012.
2012.
Numbering them.
M12.
So that makes it modern legal.
Yeah.
Or you said pre-modern? Is that what you said?
Not pre-modern legal.
Not pre.
That's what I was thinking about.
It's before,
because the red-green decks I'm building are pre-modern mostly.
Okay. All right. Mark of Fury. Mark of Fury is 1 red. It's an enchant creature. Enchanting creature gains haste, which means that it basically doesn't have summoning sickness.
Ooh.
And at the end of your turn, you return this enchantment to your own hand.
When you said it was enchantment, I was hoping it was going to be an enchant that would come back to me.
Yeah, that there. I brought it to you, Steve.
Enchanted creature gains haste. Ooh.
Ooh. And then you return this to your hand. What's not to
think about this? This is fitting in with the deck that I'm building. Now it'll just come down to whether or not it's good enough to replace something else in the deck that I want to build. Mark of Fury. I'm just writing it down.
Mark of Fury. It was got there 47 cents. I keep seeing, I don't have any good examples now, but I keep seeing creatures where I'm sort of like, this creature would be particularly good or a lot better if you had some way to give it haste.
Yeah.
Obviously all creatures are, but like certain creatures, that surprise factor and being able to attack with it right away, is clutch, or they're creatures that do something or have some, maybe like a cumulative upkeep or something, and so you want to be using it the first turn instead of letting it just sit there while you wait.
Like Colossus of Sardia.
Oh,
Turn your 9 mana into a 10 mana. Play this bad boy with haste.
No, it doesn't help, does it?
It doesn't? 9/9
Oh, well,
tree.
yeah, I mean, it helps you, yeah, attack with it the first turn you summon it, but it still doesn't untap then.
No.
Yeah.
You just damage them right away. First turn. Black Lotus.
God, here we go.
Mox Jet. Mox Pearl. Mox Sapphire. Mox Emerald.
Get out of here.
What's the one that I'm missing?
Jet.
I think I started with Jet. The
Sapphire,
fifth Mox.
Ruby, Emerald, Pearl.
The fifth Mox.
Ruby.
Ruby. I didn't say Ruby yet. That's 8 mana. 6 cards. Seventh card is land.
Still can't do them. Is there better ways?
No, wait. Sixth card is. Seventh card is Ancestral Recall.
You have Soul Ring.
Yeah, I should have made a Soul Ring one of those. Anyways, we'll figure it out later. There's a way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I'm gonna play first turn Colossus of Sardia with haste. Mark of Fury.
But then it doesn't untap.
Doesn't matter, Alex. That's not the point.
You just want to do it.
Okay. I just want to attack 9 damage first turn with Colossus of Sardia.
Well, anyways, Mark of Fury, I like this. It allows you to attack with some creatures that you want to get into the fray early instead of having them sit around. It could even, I mean, I don't think any of my Enchantress deck ideas have red. I think they're all like non-red decks, but it would be cool in an Enchantress, or an enchantment, centered deck, because you get to keep playing it. I don't know if there are some cards that trying to think, cards that would have an effect every time it gets targeted by a spell, or I don't know, never mind.
Say that again. I zoned out for a second. No, Enchantress deck, because you get to keep playing it, and that's a good thing.
I mean, it wouldn't
more
really
times you can play an enchantment,
because it would be leaving play all the time. So it'd be like +1, -1, +1, -1. So
okay,
it wouldn't be a big deal. But better in a deck that would benefit from like every time you target something or every time something gets targeted.
Yeah,
because you could probably still enchant something with it even if it's already in play. Like you could put haste onto a creature it wouldn't do anything but allow you to cast the spell if you needed to for the. I don't know. I'm off on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't benefit the creature at all. It was being enchanted, but in a world where you benefit some way from playing a red spell, for instance.
Yeah. Or just from targeting.
Quirion Dryad decks.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't this put +1/+1 it would add +1/+1 to your Dryad every single turn?
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the thing. I was something.
Whenever
like
you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter.
You can just keep like popping that back into your hand and casting it over and over again.
Hell yeah, bro.
Oh yeah.
Just come down to whether or not there's something better you can have in that deck. That's what it always comes down to. But that would be fun.
Okay. Here's a blue card for you. Private Research.
I love Private Research.
Private Research. It's a 1 blue enchantment. In fact, I think there's actually, now that I'm looking at these again, I think there's a cycle of these 1 casting cost enchantments. There's 1 of them for each color in this set.
I was going to ask if you were searching for enchantments for your Enchantress deck.
No, I just noticed these. So this is 1 blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a counter on Private Research. When enchanted creature is put into a graveyard, draw a card for each counter on Private Research. So you put this on a creature for 1 blue, and basically every turn that it stays there, it gives you 1 more card to draw when that creature dies.
When that creature dies. Oh.
The only thing I don't like about this card is that it's not going to work if they remove the creature from the game instead of sending it to the graveyard.
Yeah. What if you put this thing on creatures with fading or something, you know?
Ooh, what's
Creatures.
fading?
Huh?
What's fading again?
I'm going to pull up a card with fading. See if I remember this correctly. Blastoderm, as an example. Fading 3. This
Okay,
creature
so
comes into play with 3 fade counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a fade counter from it. If you can't, you have to
it's
sacrifice
like
it.
a time bomb and 3
So
cards.
you know it's going to disappear by a certain
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
You can't pick Blastoderm, though, because it can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Right.
So pick another card with fading. You know it's going to go away after a certain number of turns.
You're controlling it as opposed to hoping your opponent.
Yeah. And then you know at the end of that many turns,
Yeah.
unless something happens to interfere with your plans, you draw that many cards.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So it could be. I probably wouldn't build around it, but if you had a deck that was already using fading creatures, then maybe this you could add this to it. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Just a thought.
Yeah. Just a thought.
You could also just put it on let's say you're just playing blue-white control. You want a Wrath of God, just wipe the board. Right? When you Wrath of God, you're going to kill their creatures and your creatures, but you're going to have a benefit of drawing cards after that.
Right. For sure.
Refill your hand faster. We're going to be more likely to play, to put more creatures on the battlefield sooner than your opponent.
Yeah.
So you could use this, decks with board wipes.
Yeah. That isn't like a completely creatureless deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't want to do board wipe because it's like, okay, you're hurting yourself just as much as your opponent under some situations. Of course, you hold the board wipe card in your hand and you only play it in cases like that where you're going to benefit more. But this is an additional benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how to use this card.
No, yeah, I think that's a good idea. That makes me a little more positive on it.
Private research. I'm not familiar with Urza's Destiny cards nearly as much as Urza's Saga.
Well, and that's why I was surprised by so many of these, because when I started looking through the list, it's a set that I really haven't gone through. I've looked at some of the top dollar cards,
Yeah.
But I didn't really go down in through the commons and uncommons and stuff. So, and I still have to do this with Urza's Legacy and Saga some still too, and
everything after that also.
There's a lot of cards out there that are just kind of random, but
interesting. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Angel segment then.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about the Angel still?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
Angel segment. So my special topic of the week is angels. I'm going to talk about angels from pre-modern sets. I'm going to talk about white angels only. There are some cool black and multicolored angels that are pre-modern legal, but for now I'm just focusing only on the white angels. I've been collecting these for a deck I want to build that may or may not ever be built. It is my white whale, literally. I'm calling it the white whale. And it's going to have, in my mind, a bunch of badass giant angels in it. And first interesting angel that I found, which actually is one that I probably won't play, but maybe my mind will be changed on this one, is Avenging Angel.
Mm-hmm.
So Avenging Angel is from Tempest. It is a reserve list card, which add this to the list of cards that I don't understand why they're reserve list necessarily.
Uh-huh.
It is 3 colorless, 2 white, summon angel, 3/3 flyer. If Avenging Angel is put into any graveyard from play, you may put Avenging Angel on top of owner's library. So good things about it is it can be a recurring blocker. You have something that you can't deal with that your opponent has out. You can just keep blocking with this, keep bringing it back. The downside to that is it's very expensive to cast over and over and over again. You're not going to be doing much other than delaying what is your probably inevitable death if your big plan is to just keep blocking and recasting Avenging Angel over and over again.
Yeah, it's so expensive. I don't know. you have to judge it, I guess we look at it against compared to Sarah Angel. It's the same casting cost, lower power and toughness. Um, and it would just be so much better if it went to your hand instead of on top of your library, or
Oh yeah, that's the yeah. I didn't even mention that. It's like not only have to keep recasting it, you can't play. You've locked yourself down essentially.
yeah. And I,
Uh,
I like the card. I like the art. There's something that, I shouldn't say I like the card. There's something about the card I like. I like the art.
the art is
it,
very cool.
it has a cool name. They
The May is important. You don't have to keep putting it on your
Oh
library,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
you're not actually locked.
yeah.
You can choose not to do that. And from the way I read that is like it can be killed. You can choose not to put it on top of your library for like the next 3 turns or whatever. And let's say on turn 4 you wanted it back, then you could do it.
No,
Is
no,
that not
right?
true?
No, no. You have to decide right then and there if you're gonna put it on the library or into the graveyard. I think
If it's put into any graveyard from play, you may
right
put
then
Avenging Angel.
you may put it on top of your library.
It is put. It doesn't say this particular turn, but that probably is how it works.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it would probably be too good.
because
Well,
it's like
still
an
not too
effect
good,
that
but
happens
better.
right then. I think I wonder if the wording's changed on it.
Remembrance. I'm going to pull up Remembrance because I saw some comments about Remembrance. Run this with Remembrance. Remembrance is a white enchantment, 3 colorless, 1 white. Whenever a non-token creature you control is put into a graveyard, you may search your library for a copy of that creature card. If you do, reveal the card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library afterwards.
Okay.
Still not great to run with this though, because like best case scenario, you recast Avenging Angel a couple times, send it back to your graveyard because it's killed. Every time that happens, you can pull another Avenging Angel from your deck. And then you
Yeah.
just end up with 4 copies of
You can't cast them because you don't have enough mana.
yeah, you end up with 4 copies of a 5 casting cost.
Yeah, I don't
Avenging
know.
Angel.
Yeah, I don't know, but I want to like this card more for some reason. Maybe it's just because it's reserved list and I'm biased. But
Yeah.
that
This
cool
is
name.
it's the least favorite of the angels that I'm gonna talk about today. And I don't like this idea of running it with a remembrance necessarily. It's just something that I saw somebody mention. Second pre-modern playable angel is Radiant Archangel from Urza's Legacy. This one I like better. Also 3 colorless, 2 white to cast. It's a summon legend. So you can only have one of this
Oh
and
yeah.
play at any time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You can have more in your deck, but only play one at once. Is that how it works?
Yes.
It's a 3/3 flyer. It does not tap when it attacks. I love that. That's always one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
abilities for a creature to have. You can use it as an attacker and a blocker. And it gets +1/+1 for each other creature with flying in play.
Yeah.
I
Which
love that
can be
too.
all of your angels.
Could get gigantic. Multiplayer game, gigantic. Play it with token generators. A couple that I thought of off the top of my head. Sacred Mesa or Pegasus Refuge
Oh yeah, yeah.
from
I
Mirage and
use like
Tempest.
Sacred Mesa. It gets
Would
kind of shit on.
yeah. I've never played with it, but it seems pretty good, right?
I don't know. I want it to be good.
You don't like it? Let me pull it up again.
I think it's just I don't know. I just think it's not very good, but
You
it's
just make
I want it to be better.
Pegasi.
Yeah. Was it 2 to cast and 2 to use? 3 to cast and 2 to
3 to
use.
cast, 2 to use. Put a 1/1 white flyer into play, and you're not even limited to one. You could do this. You could put in multiple 1/1 white flyers.
Yeah, but you have to sacrifice one.
One,
Yeah.
but then you could put in more.
So like every turn you're kind of locked in to using it twice every turn if you want to keep any of them around and not lose the enchantment.
If you want to keep them around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's decent. You
But
can
no,
use it
I
to
like
pump.
this card. I like Radiant Archangel. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. It works good in an angel deck. Works well in an angel deck. It
Yeah.
synergizes flying creatures. It doesn't tap.
Most of the decks where I have flying creatures, I usually have multiple flying creatures. I usually have some reason why I want most or all of my creatures to be flying. So yeah, I can see her getting real big real fast. I like it. Also good art. The angel cards always have good art. Okay, the next pre-modern angel I'm going to talk about, pre-modern legal angel, is Exalted Angel. Alex, have you ever seen Exalted Angel?
I just did.
I'm going to show it to you again. Onslaught, printed in Onslaught, 4 colorless, 2 white. It's a 4/5 flyer. Whenever Exalted Angel deals damage, you gain that much life.
Awesome.
So what I was saying is it's a large creature that's essentially comes in spirit linked. Right? So you do 4 damage, you gain 4 life.
Yeah, and I love that. I love life steal.
I love it too. I've seen it in some gameplay videos that I've watched on YouTube, and I've seen it like turn the tide in a game. If somebody's playing like a slower kind of deck, and they have this angel in there, they're going up against an aggro deck that's like burning away their life. The first 4 rounds, things are looking terrible. They eventually get on an Exalted Angel. If you just fly over with this once, it really switches things up.
4 or 5, so many other, like big-ish creatures are going to be 4/4.
Yeah, it trades with almost everything. And comes out
kill a lot of stuff.
Comes out the winner.
And the morph thing, you didn't talk about the morph thing yet, but
I was going to talk about the morph. So morph was a brand new mechanic to me. I don't remember seeing morph until I saw this card for the first time. And morph is super cool. The morph mechanic, let me pull this up.
Kind of like an illusionary mask kind of thing.
I didn't even remember what illusionary mask does.
I barely do.
Okay. Let me pull up the morph so I get this right. There was a little bit more to it than I
actually looked it up and read about it some today.
Realized. MTG Wiki.
Yeah. I was reading about it today.
Okay.
It's interesting because it allows you can pay the cost. It has 2 costs. It allows you to pay the first cost to play the creature face down as a 2/2 creature, and it counts literally just as a 2/2 creature.
That's colorless, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Typeless and colorless.
Then you can pay the second cost, in this case 2 white, 2 colorless, to flip it over and turn it into Exalted Angel.
Boom. And you can do that at instant speed, which is something that I read that I thought makes it awesome.
An interesting point. In fact, you do it faster than instant speed, I believe, because morph counts as an ability that does not go on the stack.
Oh my god, Alex.
So
fast.
Yeah, it's
morphine does not use the stack.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could just have that sitting there as a 2/2, or if they don't know your deck, if they don't quite know what it was, they attack you with something, bam, you morph Exalted Angel,
and
block,
so they know it's a 2/2, they try to kill it, and at any time they try to kill it, you can pay the morph cost as a response to that to turn it into Exalted Angel. So like that's pretty sweet.
So I like this card a lot. I will be playing this card in angel decks and control decks, blue-white decks, all sorts of decks. Maybe I'll play it in green-white decks. Maybe I'll play it in a black-white angel deck.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good one. It has that like Timmy appeal of being a big beater. It costs a lot. It's like casting a Shivan. It can probably be a little.
Yeah,
might be a little.
It's like casting a Sarah Angel with a Spirit Link at the same time.
Yeah,
but it's better. You can morph it.
Yeah,
the morph takes away.
I was forgetting about the morph thing. Yeah, so that's important.
That's a really cool thing.
And morph, like we've talked about before, there's kind of a psychological thing there. It's kind of forcing your opponent to make a decision. It's like, how do I want to respond to this? You don't really have all the information, so they can make a mistake.
Yeah, if you don't know what their deck is, you don't know what that is. The next pre-modern playable angel that I'm going to talk about, was printed in Legions, which is a set that I have not really looked at all. But I know this card from Legions. It is a Chroma Angel of Wrath.
Yeah, she's a badass.
A Chroma is a boss bitch, Alex. 5 colorless, 3 white, an Angel Legend, 6/6, flying, first strike, trample, haste, protection from black, protection from red. Attacking doesn't cause a Chroma Angel of Wrath to tap. When they were designing this creature, somebody said, "Oh, what abilities do you want it to have?" And then somebody who was drunk said, "Just give it all the abilities."
All the
And they
abilities.
just gave it all the
And
abilities.
protection from black and red. And it
It's
doesn't tap.
it's got all the things. It's a two-way player. That's what I love. Offense and defense. Doesn't tap.
Yeah. She
That's what I
goes
call
toe to toe with an Elder Dragon. No
toe to toe
problem.
with an Elder Dragon.
She has protection from black and red, so they can't mess with her.
Huge casting cost is the downside. 5 colorless, 3 white, but people still play this card. So I see it in pre-modern decks, and they seem to just play it in decks where you can cheat it out in some way. Usually decks that have graveyard interaction spells. So you can't use certain graveyard spells on a Chroma because she has protection from black. So you can't like animate dead a Chroma, I think. But there are some graveyard interaction spells that work a little bit differently. And this is why I was like, I have to do more research into graveyard interaction in the pre-modern format, because I don't know exactly what cards they use her with, but I do see her in deck lists from like Reanimator decks. Are you trying to think about all of the different graveyard interaction
targeting? I'm not sure if it happens if it's not on the battlefield. I'm 50-50 on this for
There was something about that too. What you're thinking is, does she have protection from black when she's in the graveyard? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, I think she does.
Okay. But is that what you're wondering about when you were like, oh, if it's not on the battlefield?
I guess, yeah. I've seen this before. They have an acronym, DET. Protection from a color, DET. It stops damage, enchantments, blocking, and targeting. DEBT.
So you definitely couldn't animate Deader.
Yeah, I think not then.
But which cards could you play her with? Not something I need to figure out right now, but I know there's interactions.
Yeah, for sure. Either way you play around it, so it's no big deal.
Necromancy. Pull up necromancy. I'm typing in the cards that I could think of on the top of my head that pull things from the graveyard. Enchantment. You may play Necromancy as an instant. If you do so, buried end of turn. When you play Necromancy, choose target creature card in any graveyard. When Necromancy comes into play, put that creature into play as though it just played, and Necromancy becomes a creature enchantment that targets you. So you can't use Necromancy either because Necromancy targets the creature.
Yeah, probably. And I bet they've even cleaned up that wording.
Yeah, there might be a gatherer text that isn't 17 sentences long.
Yeah, it's actually way longer.
Oh no. Why would they do such a thing?
You may cast Necromancy as though it had flash. If you cast it any time a sorcery couldn't
They
have
made
been
it worse.
cast, the controller of the permanent, it becomes sacrifices it at the beginning of the next cleanup step. When Necromancy enters the battlefield, if it's on the battlefield, it becomes an aura with enchant creature put onto the battlefield with Necromancy. Put target that didn't sound right. It becomes an aura with quote enchant creature put onto the battlefield with Necromancy. Okay.
You're trying to revise language and you're out here making it longer and you're saying things like flash and aura. What are you doing?
Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control and attach Necromancy to it. When Necromancy leaves the battlefield, that creature's controller sacrifices it. So yeah, it looks like you have to target it.
Yeah. Not going to work with a Chroma. We'll do an episode
There's like
at some point
rulings on this card too.
in the not too distant future, where we talk about graveyard interaction, we will find a card that people use with a Chroma. I know that she is used in some graveyard decks. So after a Chroma, those were the 4. What was that? How many angels was that, Alex?
I have
1,
two
2,
to throw
3,
at you
4
real quick.
angels I talked about so far. Then I have a special card,
Okay. Do you want
which
to
is
hear my info?
sometimes an angel, sometimes not an angel. This card is Decree of Justice. This card was printed in Scourge. This card costs 2 colorless, 2 white, and then 2 colorless X's to cast. It is a sorcery. You put X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying into play. So you could pay 4 colorless and 2 white to get 1 angel out. 1 4/4 angel. Not good. You could pay 6 colorless and 2 white to get 2 4/4 white angels out, becoming better. More mana, but you're getting more for your mana.
For each one.
And then you can continually expand that depending on how much mana you have. In the deck that I'm trying to build called the White Whale, I will hopefully be able to ramp up to high numbers of mana, high amount of mana, potentially just cast a Decree of Justice to put angels on the field. Who knows? I might want to use it for other reasons. Before that, though, this brings me to the other part of the card. I think most of the time when people play this card, they don't actually use it to put the angels on the battlefield. You can also cycle this card. Cycling 2 colorless and a white. When you cycle Decree of Justice, you may pay X. If you do, put X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. So cycling was a new mechanic to me, I think, unless we talked about it in an early episode and I forgot about it already. But when you pay the cycling cost for a card, you essentially pitch it and then you get to draw a card.
Right.
So you could cycle this card out for 2 colorless and a white, and then X, however many you want X to be, to bring out that many soldiers.
Yeah.
So you bring out that many soldiers and you get to draw a card. I think that's what people use it for a lot. And actually, this can be a beast in our Ice and Crusader decks that we're going to build.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought about that.
Good way to get white soldier tokens into play as a spell.
Exactly. Ice and Crusaders, Decree of Justices, Jotteron Outposts. You're going to have so many white soldier creature tokens that your opponent's just not going to know what to do. They're just going to quit.
I'm thinking like a deck like this, an angel deck, or a
sacrificing too.
Bigger soldier deck would be good with a card that reduces casting costs.
Funny you say that.
1 or 2 in mind, huh?
Funny you say that, Alex.
Oh yeah. Why is that?
I might have some of those planned for the White Whale.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what you say. We'll see if they're in my deck list already.
Well, one of them was going to be from the cycle of familiars from Plane Shift, which I think would require you to play a multicolored deck because I think they all work as with allied colors or like nearby colors.
Unfortunately, the White Whale is mono white.
Yeah. So you have to be playing the green one. I think it'd be like Thornscape Familiar.
What is Judge's Familiar? This sounds like it would be a white familiar. No, this is in Return to Ravnica. All familiars are going to be 2 colors. Is that what you're saying?
The ones from Plane Shift.
Are they all 2 colors though too? I'm looking at this one.
No, it's not like that. Not
Okay.
2 colors like that. Here, look up one of them. Look up Thornscape Familiar.
Thornscape.
Yeah. So it's a great creature, but it will reduce the casting cost of white spells.
I've seen this guy.
Yeah.
1 colorless, 1 green, an insect. Red spells and white spells you play cost 1 less to play. 1 colorless less to play. Yeah.
And so there's one of these for each color that affects 2 other colors. The blue one is a bird that affects black and white, maybe. So that one might even be better if you can throw out like a tiny drop of blue into your deck. That's
No, there is no other color in the white
no other
whale
color
other
than
than
white
white.
whale. I understand. It's very thematic. Yes. Stormscape familiar is the bird.
Thornscape familiar. Stormscape familiar.
Yeah. Night,
Scornscape familiar. They should have made that the black
nightscape.
one.
Nightscape.
Landscape
Familiar.
familiar.
I think
Oh,
Thunderscape maybe?
there's
And the white
there's
one is
those
the
joke
wall.
sets. There are those joke sets, right? I think they're called Unglued or something.
Yeah, yeah.
There should definitely be a landscape familiar as a green card in an unglued set. There's the guy mowing a lawn.
Be great.
What else were you saying when I was too busy thinking about landscape familiar?
I don't know. That was it, really.
Okay.
I was mentioning those as a way to reduce casting cost, and there's another card I was going to talk about later in more of the Urza's Destiny conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll mention it now since we're talking about it. If I can find it. No, no. It's expensive. Sorry, never mind. It's Urza's Incubator.
Yep. That's in the white whale, Alex. That's in the white
Okay.
whale.
Yeah, it's a good
Well, it's
card.
not officially yet because I haven't bought any, and I think they're not cheap.
Yeah, it's like $50, I think.
So the white whale is going to be
Bucks.
just a theory. It will be a while before the white whale is put into practice because Urza's Incubator is $50, and I want poor medallions for the deck too,
Well, yeah, that helps.
which are like $30 now. And I
I
don't
hate
want.
those medallions are so expensive.
I
I
know
bought
these.
some of them, and they're ridiculously expensive.
They need to be reprinted all the time, like based on what they are. I'm like, you shouldn't be. Wizards shouldn't be letting these cards get.
Yeah, those cards should be like staple cards that are
Yeah.
constantly in sets. That's my.
This is how I feel. They're not reserve list. They haven't been reprinted since 2014. Brah, what are you doing? And when I say brah, I'm speaking directly to the CEO of Wizards of the Coast. Brah, you got to reprint the medallions. Reprint the medallions. Let all the kids buy the new ones. The price of the old one will drop eventually. I can't speak. I'll grab them for $10. I want them for $10 or less. I can't be spending $120+ for a playset of medallions for one color. Can't do it.
That's annoying.
I mean, I can do it, but I'd rather buy food. I'd rather put food on the table.
I like food.
I'd rather buy gas. Thanks, Biden. By the way, I mean that sincerely. Thanks for bringing the gas price down. You know, the gas price went up. You have to pay up for quality. This is one thing I've learned in my life. The reason the gas prices went up so high is because Biden delivered the highest quality gas that America's ever seen.
Gas.
It was the best gas. So the reason we're paying up is because we're getting better quality gas than we've ever gotten
gas
before.
is full of freedom, dude.
So first he brought us high quality gas that of course comes along with a high price point, as all things of quality do. And then he spent the last few months bringing down the price of that high quality gas.
And gas went up, but then it came back down. Things don't ever come back down. They just stay where they're at. They go up and they stay. So it came back down. It's kind of good.
Except for when Joe Biden's in charge. He brings things back down.
Chopping it. They should call him the chopper. Chopping it down, chopping the prices, chopping it down.
They call him Dark Brandon now. Have you seen any of the Dark Brandon memes?
God, I don't even want to.
Well, they were kind of funny. People started calling him Brandon for reasons unknown. Yeah. And they thought that was a really good joke. Yeah. But then when some things started,
all sorts of bumper stickers.
Yeah. When some things started going sort of well for Brandon, like the other side, the lefties came out with the Dark Brandon meme. It was just like Joe Biden with red laser eyes and explosions in the background and stuff. This is the Brandon that gets things done. He makes things happen. He's Dark Brandon. He has evil powers. He destroys his enemies essentially.
Right. Yeah,
he brings
glowing eyes.
And he brings down gas prices.
I've seen that with the glowing eyes. It's funny.
Anyways, those are the end of my angels.
I'm going to give you two angels real quick.
Oh, you're going to give me angels.
They're not too good.
I love Terrible Angels.
There are two more of my Urza's Destiny cards.
Urza's Destiny.
But they may fit a slightly lower casting cost niche in your deck. So we'll see.
Okay.
First one is Tormented Angel.
The problem with the white whale is I don't have anything to do like before turn 6, so I'm probably dead most of the time.
So this lady is interesting because she sort of looks like an 80s Barbie Tormented Angel.
My favorite Barbie.
She looks, I don't know, she very
my favorite Barbie. This is terrible. This is terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. She looks like she's from the 80s for sure.
She does.
Julia Roberts as Tormented Angel.
This is like straight out of Heavy Metal. Did you ever see that animated?
Yeah. That's sweet. This isn't that gritty though. This is like a little more.
It's weird. 3 colorless, 1 white, 1/5 flying.
Yeah. So not too like, offensive minded, which might put you off to begin with.
Just a blocker.
I'm thinking the point of an angel deck, not the point, but a big part of an angel deck is going to be giving +1/+1s to each other and then boosting each other, right? Like it's a tribal boosting deck. So she'll be 3/8 or whatever when she gets the other angel action going on.
Wait, how will she be 3/8?
Well, because you have all the other angels that are like gives other angels +1/+1.
I don't have any angels like that so far. What are those angels? I have she'll make Radiant Angel bigger, Radiant Archangel bigger.
Yeah. She's basically like she's exactly like a Dancing Scimitar, except she has a white instead of all the colorless mana. So not
Dancing
terrible.
Scimitar, legendary card. It was always in all of my decks. Dancing Scimitar.
What?
Dancing Scimitar, legendary card that I.
What do you mean? You like
it? I played in all of my decks.
It was a good card. It's it's hard to kill. It can block a Sarah Angel.
I don't think I ever played a Dancing Scimitar. I know what you're talking about. Trying to see how many
sarcasm, Steve.
Dancing Scimitar reprinted all the way 9th edition. They were still reprinting it. You can pick up an original Arabian Nights Dancing Scimitar for a current market price of $101.
Check out the value on that Arabian Nights Dancing Scimitar.
What happened here? What happened here when it was coming down? All of a sudden it went up instead, Alex.
A buyout. Someone had a buyout.
Why did that happen? If this trend continues,
hey,
it was going to go down, but then it went up instead. Now, if this trend continues, anyways.
Well, anyways, Tormented Angel. Like I said these were going to be very good, but she's defensive and her casting cost is not huge, and it only has 1 white, so that takes some strain off you if you're.
She's defensive, and nothing else I mentioned so far has a casting cost of below 5, so that's a weakness of the white whale.
Yeah, and I guess the 1 white doesn't matter since it's mono white, so that's not a big deal. But anyways, okay. Second one is Sarah Advocate. She's a lawyer.
Is she really?
I don't know. It says advocate.
Sarah Aviary. I just thought of. I could play Sarah Aviary is this card that I almost bought the other day. It's like a super cheap Homelands reserveless card. Gives you all your flying creatures +1/+1.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So with that, like it would be helping that last one. No, go get off this picture. I hate this. Go down to
you hate the 7th edition art. Yeah, you're slandering the name of this artist. Read this name's artist.
No, don't do that.
Read this artist's name.
Pick a fight with MDW.
I know. No,
fine. No, the art's fine. It's not.
We respect all Magic the Gathering
artists. I just don't like how it looks because it's like white border and newer and this.
The original I do like more.
I like these original more. Okay, so she's 3 colorless, 1 white again, 2/2 flying, and she can tap to give a creature +2/+2 until end of turn.
Yeah,
and I like that. She's she's hanging out there, can do her own thing, but you always have her as a threat to boost one of your other creatures, and it makes them not know how to block her.
I can currently buy Sarah Advocates for 17 cents a piece. Not to brag. I can afford
reasonably priced.
I can afford a whole place out of those. Not to brag.
Yeah, well, it's a brag, really.
Urza's Destiny uncommon. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, Alex.
Not bad. I saw those on short notice because you said you were talking about angels. So throw them in the mix.
There's so many angels to talk about. One day we got to talk about like non-white angels.
Yeah, we'll talk about the off-color angels or multicolor angel deck.
Multicolor. We talked about one multicolor angel back in the day.
Uh-huh.
The early days of our podcast, maybe
Uh-huh.
episode 1. Lightning Angel.
Yeah, that was a good one. I still haven't bought that because I don't think I saw one from like someone I could order it from easily.
Full disclosure, I do have a playset of Lightning Angels. Full disclosure.
I know you do.
Still cheap too. No, this one's
I
probably
bought
like
Fallen Angel a little bit too at one point. That might have been before we were recording.
I did.
Well, on the phone, I think, before we were really doing this.
I did. Yeah, Lightning Angel's less than $1 still.
You bought Fallen Angels, didn't you? You bought Legends?
I did. That's what I said.
Oh,
that's
hey,
what I
yeah,
had.
there's a bunch up now for a little bit less. I could have ordered these on my last order. Dang it. Dang
Now that you're
it.
talking about it, I'll look at the current market price of Legends Fallen Angel because I bet
It was fallen a bit.
it's fallen.
That nameless race came down some too. I want to pick up one of those maybe. I don't know if I should. Is that a dumb card to buy?
I mean, if you want one, it's not super expensive, right? Not terrible to buy one. Don't buy more than one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's under Fallen Angel is probably not much different than what I bought it for several months ago. I bought it for somewhere around $15. I think a little bit less than $15. Current market price $13.83.
Yeah.
Like the Fallen Angel.
It's cool. It's a cool picture. I like.
Yeah, it's always cool art.
No wings and the scar.
Cool ability.
Or creepy.
Okay, that's the end of the Angel segment, Alex, and I think that
Right.
brings us to the
Good
end
job.
of episode 7 as well.
Hooray!
This is our wrap up. This is our podcast wrap up where I say thank you for listening to the Old Man Magic podcast. I hope you enjoyed. You can find us on YouTube at our channel Old Man Magic. If you go there, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps us out. I hear there's something called an algorithm. And if people do these things that I'm asking them to do, like hit like, subscribe, and hitting the notification bell, it helps us out with the algorithm. The algorithm boosts our signal. You can now also find the Old Man Magic podcast on Spotify and hopefully on Apple Podcasts in the not too distant future. Please follow us on Twitter at Old Man Magic. And if you have any feedback for Alex, any comments you want to send to Alex, you can email them to us at oldmanmagic@gmail.com. Do you have anything to add, Alex?
Well, thank you everyone again. Thank you, Steve. I see that we actually maybe have a couple of real people watching this now, listening to this.
I think somebody that we don't know
unless
listens
they
to one of
aren't-
our episodes.
Unless they're Russian robots, which they might be. But so thanks. I hope this is interesting to someone. We're just a couple of old men who are confused and trying to figure this out and relearn some stuff about magic and all the things we missed. So bear with us or enjoy listening to us at your leisure. And thanks.
I think we're doing a pretty good job of figuring things out. We're figuring new things out every week. And on YouTube, we're at almost 100 views. This is huge. This is huge for us. We were at 98 views earlier today when I checked, which is nothing, but it's actually pretty exciting for me. We weren't all of those 98 views either. I was just like one. I'm probably like 7 of those views because I listen to the podcast when it's uploaded to make sure there's not like huge like weird audio gaps or any weird flaws in the upload or something. So that means we have probably like at least 80 real views that aren't me.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, anyways,
here we go.
Okay, end of the episode. Talk to everybody next week.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.